Hello everyone. I'd like to apologize in advance on this one. I don't usually make these kinds of videos, and I don't want my channel to be about drama or negativity. I try to keep subjectivity and opinions as much as I can to myself outside of my live streams. But I feel like there are some things that I need to get out. So you might see a different Lambkin today from what you are used to. And if you don't value my opinions, then that is completely fair as well. You can skip this video. This is not going to become a trend on my channel here, I just have to say. I'll address this issue today, and then hopefully never again. I think that Tekken is going in a very bad direction right now. It's been on this course for a rather long time, but with the most recent Tekken talk, it's become obvious to me that the ship has sailed. It is not changing course, and on the contrary, it is setting sail and picking up speed, going faster and faster in a direction that is very unattractive to me as a long-time hardcore Tekken fan. That being said, I want to clarify that a potential decrease in the game's quality or competitive integrity is not going to affect the main type of content that I do. But it most definitely will affect the quantity of content I'll do. Simply put, if I'm not playing the game, I'm not making content for the game. And the frequency at which I produce this content, of course. Because I'd rather not do any content at all than produce content based on drama or negativity. So although I do reserve the right to express my opinions and make videos like this one from time to time, this does not signify a shift in my channel direction. Just wanted to be very clear about that. And I'm not saying right now that I will quit the game indefinitely and not quit making content. I will not. I will stand by your side through this. But I cannot lie. If I don't think the game is good. If I don't like playing it, I'm not going to do it as much, and that consequently means that there's not going to be as much content. So I just want to get that out there. So yeah, obviously, this video is sort of my response to the most recent Tekken talk. And just a quick disclaimer, I might have missed some important details because I was jumping through this Tekken talk. I just can't be asked. I can't be asked sitting through a 2.5-hour video that starts out with 45 minutes of ads for shitty, low-quality scam products that no one wants and no one asked for, followed by 2 hours of translating Japanese to English because for some reason they always insist on doing these live. Probably has something to do with the fact that people cannot initially skip through a live feed. So if you're gonna do a scummy ass 45-minute commercial for Kazuya skateboards or Heihachi wristbands or fucking Lily or Asuka flashlights or whatever the fuck, then it makes sense to do it in a live feed on YouTube where you're not only guaranteed that people will actually expose themselves to your ads since they are excitingly tuning in, waiting to see things they actually care about, like, I don't know, the fucking game they actually bought, right? And then as a bonus, you can also earn YouTube ad revenue on top of that video itself. So they actually found a way to maximize their scumbaggery and predatory monetization practices by doing unskippable live ads on an already monetized live stream, in this instance violating the seller-consumer relationship and molesting their trust with you by knowingly taking advantage of your hype to get more eyes on their product for free. Not even for free, like for payment. Products that has nothing to do with the main product that people are already paid for and are expecting you to deliver on. Products that they don't care the least about and would never otherwise seek out themselves. And this is proved by the fact also that they're still, after 7 months or something, 7 months of relentless advertising, mind you, trying to sell 500 of these limited edition skateboards, right? Honestly, between you and me, I highly doubt that they even sold 100 by now, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're gonna start offering these hard to grab them while they're hot limited items on a discount soon. I'll be, yeah, just to get rid of them. I don't even know if that's hilarious or if it's just sad. Maybe it's sad hilarious. That's a new word for you. Anyway, in my country, we have a word for this sort of scumbag behavior, and it's called narfisse or narfjabbe. And it translates roughly to something along the lines of trick pussy. And I'll explain to you what trick pussy is. You know how, like in Roadrunner, how he would paint a tunnel on a solid piece of rock to trick Wile E. Coyote into like running into the rock and smash his fucking teeth in? Or when someone will manipulate you to serve their interest by always dangling the possibility of love or sex in front of you to keep you interested, so that they can keep taking advantage of you, right? That is basically what narfisse is. And I think that it applies quite appropriately to what the Tekken team is doing here. Fucking hell, it's gonna be a long video. I just looked at the timer and I barely even started. Like, I'm just getting warm here. I guess we're ranting today then. I want to quickly address the issue about the missing patch notes here. So obviously, a lot of people are frustrated that they always release the patch note like last minute, right? And personally, I just think that doing this, especially on such a massive update as this one, is just completely unacceptable, right? But so in this talk, they actually addressed this issue briefly, and they expressed that they are doing this intentionally because they don't want people to complain in advance, and that people should wait until they're able to test the contents of the patch notes by themselves. That's the argument they give, right? But I think that this is a bullshit take. That is not how other developers do things, because it actually signals to your customers that you don't trust their opinion on the product they bought from you, right? And I know that sounds absolutely bonkers, which it is. And on top of that, it also makes you as a company seem insecure about your ability to perform appropriate quality control and keep your customer base happy, since you're sort of trying to rob people from talking about potentially negative changes before they are even implemented. That could greatly affect the user experience of the product, and therefore the reviews, and therefore the sales of the product. And what are they selling right now? Well, ding, 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 you guessed it. They're selling season passes, and most importantly, in this specific scenario here, they are selling, what's it called? Early access. So you can bet your grandma's fat tits that when they say they don't want people to complain prematurely, what they're actually saying is something along the lines of, we are trying to silently sneak a fat dick up the ass of the average uninformed consumer, and we don't want informed veteran players or loyal fans and our already established clientele to be able to warn others or talk negatively about the product until we've already taken people's money for early access and so on. That's what that basically means. Isn't it kind of like ironic that they had to sit there and translate each other for 2.5 hours in Tekken Talk, and now I have to sit here and translate their bullshit to make it make sense because they haven't got the fucking balls to give it to us straight. Anyway, yeah, the key charge thing. Let's talk about that next. This key charge counter hit change is so on brand for Bandai Namco as well. They pulled this sort of shit many times in the past before, where if a mechanic has a problematic interaction with a specific character or specific move, then rather than just adjusting that specific move or character, they will just straight up remove a mechanic or change it in some profound way to the point where it's just useless or even more problematic than before. They did this, for example, in Tekken 7, notably with Akuma's tech catch. Yeah, Akuma's tech trap at the wall, where instead of, in case you're not aware of this, instead of adjusting Akuma's tech trap directly, they just straight up targeted the way you tech at the wall, messing up everything in the process. And hilariously, it didn't even fix the problem, because after 10 minutes in practice mode, Akuma players, including myself, found a new way to bypass the change and implement a tech catch anyway. So this is a very lazy and on-brand, unprofessional way of trying to fix something. It's kind of like if you go to the doctor complaining about an ingrown toenail, and then instead of treating the ingrown toenail, they just fucking amputate your foot so that ingrown toenails won't be a problem for you anymore, my friend. Like, that is the logic these people apply when it comes to fixing a problem in their game, right? Just put things into perspective here. So instead of fixing the perceived problematic interactions involving key charges in this instance, they just went with the cheap and easy route and just neutered the mechanic completely, and consequently be shaving off just a little bit more nuance and player creativity in the process of an already simplified version of this game, right? But I don't even think that key chart setups were problematic. And to be honest, I don't think anyone thought so. Like, I've never heard anyone complain much about that, right? It's not something that was abused in, or you saw all the time in tournaments and competitive play. Like, what? Yeah, so dumb. I actually just made a detailed video on key chart setups recently, where I also explained exactly how they work and why they're not broken. So in case you don't know about this mechanic, and if you're curious as to what we're about to lose and what we're gonna be missing out on soon, I guess you can give that a look. I'll leave it in the description. But yeah, the same criticism can sort of be directed towards this thing of off-axis combo auto realignment that they talked about today as well. It is just a cheap and lazy fix to a non-problem. That's only further gonna kill players' expression and nuance. No more mid-combo sidestep running throw Ender on King, for example. You know this combo Ender where gives high damage, O-key, floor breaks as well. This was locked behind some execution. That shit's gonna be easy as fuck to do now. Same goes for all max damage combo routes involved doing a slight sidestep mid combo to align yourself for a specific ender that would otherwise whiff, right? You probably know what I'm talking about on your specific characters. It exists with most characters. Most stable combos, this is not a factor, but if you want to unlock that just a bit extra damage on certain combos, you would be rewarded with said damage for having the knowledge and the execution. But now they're gonna give you that for free as well, I guess. As if combos weren't already equipped with training wheels in this game, with like tornadoes being generous with the time you have to run up and step to align yourself. Like, is it really too much to ask of people to just have the tiniest bit of execution? I guess so. Yeah, and then absolutely no mention of any sort of anti-cheat initiative or implementation. Arguably the biggest problem in online competitive Tekken right now, and they're not even going to acknowledge its existence. I mean, yeah, we had this talk with them before, and it's clear by now that they either just don't care or they're too incompetent to do anything about it. Probably both. And yeah, no mention of buffing defense or movement today. All we got was a late fix to a gameplay bug that should have been fixed 20 years ago. And I'm talking here about being able to sidestep into the foreground after a forced crouch. And then a very small decrease in chip damage on block. These improvements were revealed to us back in February, and apparently that's it. That's what they meant all this time when they were talking about buffing defense. It was just more narfise. More trick pussy. More trick pussy to keep us hooked and distracted while they slowly position themselves behind us and undoes our pants. That's basically what that was. And if you're wondering by now, well, when is he gonna get to the balancing changes and all that? Well, I'm not going into balancing today. I think that what we saw in this talk today is not conclusive enough. And it doesn't make sense to discuss balancing yet. I will when the time is right, but right now there's just too much about balancing specifically that we don't know right now. But frankly, I don't think balancing is the biggest issue right now. It's a pseudo problem. Balancing doesn't matter in the end if the core of the game is built on a house of cards that's gonna collapse eventually anyway. You know what I mean? So yeah, the first year of Tekken 8 had been a very turbulent one. And early on, we saw an extremely worrying, in my opinion, trend of overly simplifying a game that was always, been renowned and appreciated for a very deep complexity that allowed for a lot of creativity and player expression. Now, at the launch of Tekken 8, we'd already lost chickens, for example, which is the ability to reverse a reversal, which is something that I thought was incredibly cool. Jump over tech was nerfed heavily. It is borderline impossible to perform now, consistently at least. And even when it works, it's not really reliable anymore or viable. And now we're also losing key charge setups and off-axis combos. And in their attempt at retard-proofing the game, for lack of a better term, they're just slowly and sadistically shaving off bit by bit all of the cool little things that made Tekken special compared to other fighting games. If the developers' intentions weren't transparent before, then they certainly are now, now that we see their vision for Season 2. Although an incomplete picture we have at the moment, it's now obvious to us that contrary to what they've expressed to the non-casual community in the past, they do not intend to improve the defensive aspects of the game. And they only care about Tekken's uniqueness and competitive integrity insofar as it increases sales. And why would you value and try to appease a hardcore, loyal fan base when you could just piss all over your own integrity by trying to appeal to people who barely cares about the franchise and try to lure those people with the narfise and shit into buying your game with the promise of instant gratification and in form of easy wins and easy gameplay at the expense of your long-time loyal player base, right? So that you can boost your short-term profit to look more attractive to your shareholders, right? And especially, why would you do this when you know, as a matter of fact, that your hardcore loyal fan base has so much fucking stage 4 Stockholm syndrome that no matter how many times you molest them, they are just always going to reluctantly swallow your fucking jizz and reward your abusiveness and financially by going and purchasing another low-effort reused asset that was copy-pasted from the previous game, or just straight up ripped from Unreal Engine dev kit asset, right? And I'm guilty of this as well, and have been guilty of this. I'm not trying to sit here and play saint, and I'm not here to accuse others. I too have the sour taste of Bamco's dirty penis in my mouth. Unless you're one of those people who already decided to quit the game completely, then we're all just you and I. We're all just cum swapping Namco's jizz with each other and coping together every time they apologize to us and tell us that they don't want to lose us and they're going to change, even though they have no intention to. Why do we stay? Why do we stay? Yeah, but going back to what I said before, we have also seen this trend of retard proofing. I kind of like that word. I'm going to use that from now on. We've seen this trend of retard proofing Tekken reflected in the way they added or removed rather the ability to parry and low parry all airborne attacks and charged up attacks on blockables. They nerfed the startup frames on manual parries from 4 to 5 frames. They nerfed backdashing in general, but for some characters quite dramatically. Yeah, they don't want you to be able to go backwards. They just want to force you to go forwards. And this is also why they made while running moves easy to perform, even when the opponent is at range 0. Remember, you had to that was hard to do in 7, right? They dumbed down a lot of character-specific mechanics and made them like more accessible to the point where it's very problematic for balancing. Like easy DSS being the most pronounced, I think, example of this, at least in my opinion. But certainly not exclusive to DSS. So just look at the heat electrics and easy crouch dash from stances, etc. And look at what they did to Eddie as a character. Now, of course, many of the examples I'm giving right here, they were implemented on release, but with all this talk from the Tekken devs in recent time of buffing defense and adjusting Tekken 8's aggressive philosophy, the hopes were that we were about to make an important shift in direction, where we move away from canned mix-up and bum rushing each other with oversaturated offense, to put it mildly, to something that resembles a bit more, I don't know, the Tekken that we all know and love, carefully integrated with the new and potentially interesting system that is Heat. I don't hate all that Heat, I just hate the way it is implemented. You know what I mean? There are a lot of great things about this game, and it has so much potential, which is also why I think it's so sad to see it go down this route. And maybe we could even reverse some of the unfortunate changes that were made to defensive aspects of the game early on. Yeah, but no, we are in fact doubling down on retard proofing, as we're slowly chiseling away at everything that made Tekken stand out and elevate itself among other fighting games, until there's nothing left but just another uninteresting, uninspiring, bland mash fest that people will pick up and pass around for 5 minutes like some sort of cheap whore until they move on to the next hot thing. Yeah. As you can probably tell, I have an enormous amount of love for this game and franchise. And it really pains me a lot to see the direction it's heading towards right now. And even if it's the case that you don't agree with my opinions or perspective, I hope that you can at least respect or appreciate my love for the game and my willingness to speak out and stand up for what I believe in. But also, fuck you, I'm right, you're definitely wrong, I'm a higher rank than you, and you're probably not even that good at pleasing a woman. Go suck a dick. Goodbye.